Welcome to Mind Body Monday, and thank you for joining me. The topic of today's video is the gut migraine connection. And in this video, you are going to discover the latest, somewhat surprising, but if you know me, maybe not so surprising, root causes of migraines and headaches. I'm also going to share with you my 4 top supplements that I use in my clinic to help my patients as well. So let's get started. Firstly, I just want to say straight out of the gate that I'm grateful that I do not suffer from migraines and headaches on an ongoing basis. I have had occasionally the major headache, but that's really my own doing as a result of not getting enough sleep or not hydrating sufficiently, or eating something perhaps I shouldn't have, and or allowing myself to get overly stressed with whatever is happening in my life. And this is why I want to just start off by emphasizing and going on a few-minute rant about the importance of self-care being the heart of healthcare. That's right, self-care being the heart of healthcare. This is really the byline of Mind Body Monday. And no matter what your health challenges are, or whether you don't have any health challenges, putting your needs on the map and taking care of yourself is so important. And this can show up with daily, simple routines that can just become part of your daily life. For example, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or drinking a cup of water before you have your coffee, or signing up to an exercise class, or taking a daily walk, or saying no to something that really doesn't serve you, or saying yes to something that you want to bring into your life that will serve you. The bottom line is your needs count. You matter. Your needs are 100% legit. And my favorite analogy when I talk about self-care being the heart of healthcare is a young mother with a preemie or a young baby on her lap, or in the crib on the airplane. And the safety rules are very, very clear. If there's a loss of cabin pressure, the mother, takes her oxygen mask first. And it's not an act of selfishness. It is indeed the highest act of selflessness, because through the mother stabilizing herself and attending to her needs, she gets to stabilize and save her baby too. And this is how it is in our life. We don't need to be in a cabin or wait for a loss of pressure to take our oxygen mask. But the most important thing really is to put your needs on the map. And remember that we all are masterpieces. That's right. We are a piece of the master. And that's why we get to put our needs on the map in a respectable, respectful, conscious, and intentional way. And one of the ways to do this is just to become the CEO of your own healthcare, your physical health, your mental, emotional health, and your spiritual health. Becoming the CEO of your healthcare, because nobody is going to take care of you the way you need and want to be taken care of. So even though I'm not a migraine sufferer, if I step out of line, and life happens and we have to adapt, but the choices I've put in my life and the flexibility I'm graced with allows me to really step up. And for lots of other reasons, I must put self-care on the map for myself, not only as an individual, but as a doctor working with hundreds of people and showing up full, present, alive and vital to help them as well, let alone my spouse, my kids, and my family. So coming back to migraines, I've helped many people, in some cases, eliminate migraines completely. And in other cases, just significantly reduce the severity the duration, and the frequency of their migraines. That means how often they suffer from migraines, how long each period of suffering is, and how bad each suffering attack is, migraine attack is. All of these can be significantly reduced with the information that I'm going to be sharing with you now. I just want to dispel a myth right from the get-go. You see, a lot of people think that the motivation to cure a migraine or get migraine relief is because it's a darn nuisance, to say the least, and it renders a person totally dysfunctional, retreating to dark rooms, the nausea, the vomiting, and all the other terrible symptoms. So obviously they want to get on with their life and get rid of migraines. But what people don't know is that there are other much, much more significant reasons to commit yourself to the journey of getting to the root cause and treating your migraines. And what is that? Well, according to recent PubMed research, they showed that women who suffer from migraines are twice as likely to die from a stroke and heart attack. This is pretty shocking. And this number increased by 9 times if these women who are migraine sufferers are also on the contraceptive pill. So that's another incredibly important piece of information to know. It's not about the inconvenience of migraines and the debilitation that they cause in one's life, but really it's an aspect of longevity. And healing migraines will actually help you live a longer life because of this research. In fact, another piece of research showed that 20,000 men who suffered from migraines were 42% more likely to have a heart attack compared to men who don't have migraines. So the whole cardiovascular health piece is intimately linked with migraine suffering or not. So it's so important also for this reason to really look for ways to mitigate. I have so many patients of mine who live on various painkillers whenever they have a migraine or to thwart a migraine. And some of these painkillers over the long term have significant side effects. And one of them is to damage the gut lining, causing a condition called leaky gut syndrome, which I'm going to cover shortly in a little bit more detail. Also, they can pay a heavy price on the damage it causes the liver. So these medications, as helpful as they are really designed for very, very short-term use. So it's imperative to constantly look and focus and find someone to work with to get to the root cause of whatever is going on. So I mentioned leaky gut syndrome in a previous Mind Body Monday video. I went into a deep dive about what is leaky gut syndrome and what you can possibly do about it. Now, what people perhaps don't realize is, along with the gut's amazing role in digestion, absorption, and elimination of food, the gut also is really a barrier to the outside world. And the way I explain it to my patients is, if you can imagine just swallowing a silver tube, just putting a silver tube down your mouth, like a big straw, let's say, putting it straight through and into your guts, into your intestines. Whatever you eat is really inside that tube. And although the tube is inside your body, it's not in contact with your blood supply. So from that perspective, it's really external to your blood supply. It's not part of your body. Yes, it's technically in your body, but because it's a barrier, that whatever you put into that will not penetrate and go through into your blood. This is technically how a healthy, intact gut should be. However, many things can damage the gut lining. So it's like, coming back to the analogy, it's like poking holes into that tube. And what happens is, before food particles are fully digested, or virus fragments and components, or gut or bacteria or protozoa or any other nasties that have been ingested, before they can be neutralized completely by a vibrant immune system, which the majority of our immune system actually rests in our gut, before that can actually be neutralized, because of a leaky gut, the membrane becomes permeable and allows these toxins and bacteria and things like that to enter into the bloodstream. And what that causes is an immune response from the body, a heightened immune response, and very often leads to inflammation as a result. And it's this inflammation that will trigger a migraine. And it's this inflammation that also sets off a cascade of other chemical reactions in the body that can cause havoc with the immune system, leading to autoimmune conditions and many other chronic diseases. I recently shared a video on the gut everything connection, and I go into a lot of detail in terms of covering at least the top 6 systems that the gut is very much involved with. So it's not only about digestion and absorption of your food, but your gut is connected to every single major system of your body. So this is why it's so important to nourish your gut with healthy foods. And I'm going to share with you one of the strategies that I use on a daily basis, and I encourage all of you to do it as well, to help preserve the integrity of your gut lining. Poor sleep, alcohol, smoking, high continued stress, all can contribute to this leaky gut syndrome, many other things as well. So check out that video to get a better understanding. Now, once the inflammation has come into the body, this can irritate what's called the meninges. The meninges are tiny coverings covering the entire brain and spinal cord. And these sensitive membranes become inflamed. And as a result of that, one theory of migraines is that when these meninges become inflamed and irritated, they cause migraines. There are other theories as well in terms of vasoconstriction, blood vessels shrinking down, and there's a lack of blood and oxygen to the brain. But essentially, I'm looking at the gut orientation to what happens in the gut through leaky gut that could trigger a migraine attack. Now, research had also shown when they take blood tests for of patients who suffer from migraines, chronic migraine sufferers, all of their inflammatory markers are raised. These are markers like ESR or CRP, C-reactive protein, specifically the HS, the high sensitivity CRP, which points to inflammation in the body. And one of the first strategies is to identify, in healing a migraine, is identify what is causing the inflammation. And unless you are asking this question and dealing with this question, you will not get full resolution, at least in my understanding. I've seen so many patients who are been living with chronic migraines and taking so much medication to help them. And it's fine as a short-term strategy, but it's so important to begin to look under the hood and address what is causing the inflammation. So let's have a look at one of those reasons, and then I'm going to share with you some of the supplements that can ease things. So my main focus in my practice is looking for leverage. What I mean by that is where a small intervention, something like a 15 or 20% intervention, can give about an 80% result. That way it's quicker for patients to recover. It's perhaps easier for people to do, and they begin to notice the benefits sooner. And one of those strategies is to really look for food allergies and sensitivities. And there are many tests to do that. I use specific testing in my clinic. And once I've discovered what each patient is sensitive to or allergic to, that has to be eliminated completely from the program. So some of my patients ask me, do I really have to go cold turkey? Do I really have to stop whatever it is I've identified as a food sensitivity. My answer to them is just imagine you walk into the doctor's office, or rather you hobble or limp into the doctor's office, and you say, "Doctor, my foot is excruciating. I can't walk, I can't rest, I can't sleep. I even got a headache from it." He has you lie down, you take off your shoes, your socks, you look at your feet, and you've got 3 pins in the bottom of your heel. Now, if you is a good doctor, he will just remove all 3 in the right way, or send you off to the nurse to have that done, or whatever the case, and clean you up. But what happens if you said to you, "Listen, I understand this is uncomfortable for you, but we're just going to take out 2 for today, and you can just get on with your life with the other one." You're not going to feel any different. In fact, you may even feel worse. And that's exactly the same approach to the importance of eliminating absolutely all trigger foods, because these foods will trigger an inflammation in the gut, an inflammation in the brain, and healing will be slowed or never really happen, because that patient with 2 tacks, with 1 tack still in his foot, is still going to limp out the office, the doctor's office, not get the help he needs. He needs all 3 taken out. So in one small PubMed study, they showed which foods are most common, but everybody is different. So they showed that when patients did go off the allergy foods, or food sensitive, the foods that were causing them sensitivities, there was about an 85% reduction in migraines, the frequency, the duration, and the severity. So it's so important to actually identify what that is and actually give it a good go and get off those things. In fact, on a side note, that same piece of research discovered that 25% of that sample who also had high blood pressure, when they went off these foods, not only did they get the bonus of having their headaches reduced, but their blood pressure normalized as well. So getting off foods that are noxious to you is really a good idea. And everybody's different, even though there are general foods, as this research highlights, but it's so important for each person to get tested themselves, because what is okay for one person may not be okay for the other. So the bottom line here is, whenever you're working to heal yourself from whatever it is, it's really important to find the right person to work with, find a functional and integrated medical practitioner who has a much, much bigger picture of how to approach it, and not just symptomatically treat you with medication. That is important. It has a role, but it is absolutely not a long-term solution as well. So let me share with you my top 5 supplements. Now, there are many, many supplements that could alleviate migraines. And I'm only going to be talking about supplements, meaning vitamins, minerals, etc. There are also many herbs. I'm trained in Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic and Western herbal medicine as well. And I use herbs extensively in my practice. So it's very important also, when you're working with someone, to make sure that if you are on medication, that there are no side effects between or contraindications between your standard medication and herbal medicine, because there are very often interactions which could either nullify or augment standard medication. So that's just an important piece to bear in mind. So the first supplement to consider bringing into your diet, whether you have a migraine, headaches or not, is to really become accustomed to adding probiotics into your lifestyle. And this is a game changer across the board for all migraine sufferers, but also for taking health to the next level, because the microbiome is such a rich organ system that does so much for us. In fact, over 95% of our brain neurotransmitters, like serotonin, and 50% of dopamine, these are the neurotransmitters that keep us happy and motivated and regulate our sleep and regulate our appetite. The majority of these neurotransmitters are made in the gut and not made in the brain. So it's so important to nurture your gut, to give yourself all the raw ingredients needed to have a happy, positive, upbeat outlook on life as well. So this is one of the first gut-brain axes I discussed on the gut everything connection, was the gut-brain connection as well. So you can check out that video for more info. Bottom line is, there was the largest double-blind randomized study involving probiotics and migraine sufferers. And they discovered at the end of this research that there was approximately a 42% reduction across those three parameters: the duration, the severity, and the frequency of migraine sufferers, just by adding in a 14-strain probiotic. And it's one of the probiotics that I particularly recommend and use in my clinic because I've seen such good results. Now, you don't have to take a probiotic medication. You can absolutely make your own or buy a proper cultured vegetable like sauerkraut, kimchi, unfermented miso, for example, and things like that, because you'll make your own pickled vegetables, etc. But at least have a tablespoon twice a day, because this will definitely populate your gut with the friendly bacteria that is so, so important to help heal your gut, nurture your microbiome, heal and repair it, and also give the body the raw ingredients it needs to work in the best possible way, because we live in very sterile environments, so to speak, and there are lots of reasons for a disrupted microbiome. You can see my previous videos on that as well. So first suggestion is to take a probiotic supplement or to include cultured vegetables in your daily living as part of how you show up for yourself on planet Earth as your self-care measure. So let's look at the second one. The second supplement that is my go-to when I'm helping people with migraines or headaches is magnesium. Now, recently there was an international symposium on migraines, and they discovered that about 50% of migraine sufferers are deficient in magnesium. So even if people are not deficient in magnesium, there are so many benefits that magnesium confers to the body. So to add more confusion to people, if you do a quick Google search on magnesium, you'll discover there are at least 11 kinds of magnesium. Each kind of magnesium has an affinity to different tissues in the body, meaning some gravitate towards the gut, some go to the brain, some go to muscle repair, etc. So once again, there's another reason to work with a functional medicine doctor who can guide you to find the right magnesium for your specific needs as well. And that's also part of leverage, because I'm specializing in gut health. If someone comes to me with chronic constipation and they got migraines, then my choice of magnesium supplement would be different as if they're compared to if they only had a migraine. So that's because different magnesiums are absorbed by different body cells in different ways. So, for example, magnesium oxide is absorbed more in the gut and less in the brain. And one of my favorite magnesiums to use for migraines is magnesium threonate. And magnesium threonate crosses the blood-brain barrier and is very, very good to help calm and soothe the brain, help also insomnia, and help soothe the meninges. So that may be a good option for people at the right dose. Super. So the third supplement that I would recommend people taking in general is a combination of vitamin B2 and vitamin B6. Research has shown that these two B vitamins at the right doses would reduce, again, the severity, duration, and frequency of migraines. And in my clinic, I generally dose my patients. I test them for the right dose, but I generally dose them at about 400 milligrams a day of B2 and approximately 80 milligrams or so of B6. But once again, everyone's different. There's something called biochemical individuality, where everyone's different, their needs are different, the absorption is different, and therefore the dosages must be different as well. And what's important to bear in mind that these two vitamins are very, very close related to what's called methylation. And the methylation cycle is one of the detoxification pathways of the liver. And this is particularly important with migraine sufferers who tend to have high liver enzymes or high inflammation in their body. And these supplements have been shown to help methylation process, which is a really fancy way of saying the detoxification process of the body. Okay, let's go on to the fourth pick of the day. The fourth pick of the day is omega-3 fish oil. I'm saying fish oil, but people can use a vegan-derived oil. However, the dosages must be correct as well because the absorption from those oils is different. The active ingredients in a good quality fish oil is DHA and EPA, and those need to be high. I've seen on the market very often when patients come in to see me for the first time, I invite them to bring their big shopping bag of all their vitamins and supplements so I can just dump them out and have a look at everything and sort out what they should be taking or what they shouldn't be taking. Very often find a whole lot of expired things that should just discard, but to make sure that you have therapeutic doses of these key active ingredients in omega-3. And the omega-3 has been shown to reduce, to help cells, how they communicate, and therefore can influence how we perceive pain. But more importantly, have been shown to reduce inflammation as well. So those are my 4 supplements that I would recommend out of the gate to help people with migraine suffering. But just remember, everyone's different. And once again, even taking supplements, the word supplement implies supplementing something. What are you supplementing? Well, it has to be a really good eating program and a really solid sleeping pattern, exercise, and a healthy lifestyle. So your self-care pillars of well-being are in place. So yes, it's okay if you just take supplements, but at the end of the day, you want to really, really, really get to the root cause of what's driving the inflammation, if that's what's going on. A quick take-home summary of the 4 supplements I spoke about. The first was making sure you have a good probiotic, either in a capsule or a cultured vegetable. The second is to take the right magnesium for you. I prefer magnesium threonate if there are no other health issues because it crosses the blood-brain barrier, and then taking B6 and B2, which is been shown to help migraines on various levels. And then, of course, there's omega-3, which decreases inflammation and helps with pain management. Thanks once again to you all for joining me on Mind Body Monday. And just remember, the Mind Body Monday is where self-care is the heart of healthcare. All you need to do is take one small step in the direction of health and healing in mind, body, and soul. I'll see you next week.